Hartford Infant School. It's Mrs. Lee here. It's week 3 and it's assembly number 1. How are you? Good, I'm glad to hear it. Shall we start off with our routine? Yes. So, what's the time, Mr. Wolf? Well, we need to look at the clock. Now the long hand, you got it, the minute hand is on the number 4. Now I can work that out because I can count in increments of 5 from the 12. Come with me. 5, 10, 15, 20. So when the minute hand, that's the long hand, is on the 4, it's actually saying to you 20 minutes past. 20 minutes past what there, Mrs. Lee? That's right, we look to the shorthand, that's the hour hand, and the hour hand is just slightly off the 9. Put it all together, that's right, 20 minutes past 9. 20 minutes past 9 at night, you know it, you should be asleep, closing your eyes, tucked up in bed. If it's 20 minutes past 9 in the morning though, you're probably just finishing ready to learn time and getting on with some busy learning, or maybe you're looking at call time, or maybe you're doing some phonics, or maybe you're doing guided reading. All sorts of things are happening in the morning, but it all involves a lot of hard work. What's hard work? Yes, that's right, it's one of our golden rules. At Hartford Infant School, everybody works hard and then they get number 4s. Have you had a number 4 yet today? No? Well, you better get to it. Okay, what else is on our routine? That's right, we've got our language of the month. We're still in April, so we are still learning Filipino. And we all know how to say hello in Filipino. And if we forget, we can look up here and it's kamusta, kamusta. Okay, and one more thing on our board. That's right, our Makaton sign. It's changed this week. I'm going to bring it over to you. I couldn't find a symbol, but I could find a picture. I'm going to read this word. Rules. Rules. I just said that word. I did, didn't I? Because over here, we have some golden ones. Golden rules. Now, the Makaton sign for rules is put your hand out. Like that. Can you do that? Rules. 1, 2, 3. Now, we don't have 3 gold rules, do we? We have 7 golden rules. We don't do 7 on here, though. We just do 3. Can you do it with me again? 2, 3. Rules. Rules. Why do we have rules, Mrs. Lee? Do like reflective Rex now, think. I've got an idea. I know. We have golden rules to help make our school a happy place. That's right. I know. We have golden rules to keep our school a happy place. Do we just have rules in our school? We would like reflective Rex and think. I have rules in my house. In my house, we have a rule that when you go to throw something away, a bit of rubbish, you need to look at it carefully and think, can you recycle it? Because we have 2 bins in my kitchen. One bin, we put all the dirty stuff in, like apple cores, and we might put in there, tea bags, things that we wouldn't reuse. And then we have another bin where we put everything in that we can reuse. So we put glass in there, we put plastic in there, paper, cardboard. Do you have rules at home? I bet you do. I bet some of you have to be in bed by a certain time. Remember at the beginning of the video I said, if it is 20 past 9 at night, you should be asleep. Well, we have rules like that in my house. So my 2 boys have to go to bed by a certain time. Even Mrs. Lee has to go to bed by a certain time. I have a rule that I need to be in bed by 10 o'clock. Because if not, I'm very grouchy the next day. Nobody likes a grouchy head teacher, do they? No. So rules are there to help us, keep us happy, but also to keep us safe. I don't want to make any mistakes when I come into work. I need to be bright, up, full of beans and energy, don't I? Not grouchy, feeling tired. No. Okay, so this week I really want to think about rules. And we will think about our golden rules, but we're also going to think about rules in the whole world. Now, we've been learning about the world, haven't we? Where have we been learning about? Can you just think? Be a reflective Rex. That's right, we've been learning about Antarctica. Now, Antarctica is not like where we live. We live in Huntingdon, which is in, that's right, England, which is in, that's right, the United Kingdom. Now, if you can find England on the globe, you'll see that it's a very, very, very long way away from Antarctica. And I bet you could whisper something to the person next to you about the difference. So that's things that are not the same about Huntingdon and Antarctica. I'll give you a few seconds. Did you think of any? My first one came to me was that when I look at the picture in the research centre of Huntingdon, it's very green. There's lots of green in our country. But when I look at pictures of Antarctica in the books, it's very, that's right, white, isn't it? Because it's covered a lot in snow, isn't it? In fact, I'm going to take you to the research centre in a moment, and we'll have a little look at the display that I've put in there, and there's lots and lots of books that you might like to come and look at, and you can at lunchtime. But you've got to remember, come and ask me. If my door is closed, then the research centre is closed. If my door is open and I talk to you, I will choose 5 of you to wash your hands and go and read a book. Now, when we get to the research centre, I'll tell you which books you can read. So I'll see you in 3, 2, 1. Hello children, I'm back here in the research centre, as I said, and I'm over here with our map of Huntingdon, but I've put some new signs up. Should we have a look at them? So we are at the moment doing a whole school topic on, yeah, you guessed it, on great explorers. And we're going to spend the whole of the summer term thinking about great explorers. At the moment, we're doing the geography, so we're being geographers. We're being geographers, aren't we? And we're finding out about the world. So we all know that we live in Huntingdon, and we know that Huntingdon is in England, in the United Kingdom, and we're learning about Antarctica, which is a completely different place, isn't it? So I've put a little display down here, if you can see that. Okay, this was outside Mrs. Lee's office, but I thought it would be nice out here for you to come and have a look at. So there's lots and lots of lovely books here about Antarctica, about what it's like. Do you remember when I was in the hall, I was saying to you that when I think about Huntingdon, think about how green it is. There's lots of green spaces. But when I look at books about Antarctica, what I see a lot of is white, the snow. I've also put a fact up here. People get confused. In Antarctica, there are no polar bears. There are penguins. There are whales. There are lots of seals. And there's even a bird called an albatross. I've got some of them here on the display. Now, these belong to me, so please make sure we leave these on the display. You can come and have a look at them. Maybe you can move them around. And you might want to look at some of the lovely books that are on here. Some lovely fiction books about stories about the penguins. There's a really good story here. I know Robin read this story the other day. And there's some pictures down here as well. And there's one here about an explorer called Barbara Hillary. She's an American lady. And when she was about 65, she decided that she wanted to be an explorer. So she was older than Mrs. Lee, and she lived in America, and she thought, you know what, I really, really want to go and explore the polar regions. So she took off. Do you think she was in Antarctica? No, she didn't go to it. She went to the Arctic, where the polar bears are, which is all wrapped up nice and warm. But she did go to the Antarctic as well. Okay, you might want to find out more about her. Come and have a look at this display. Right, I'd like to read you one of these books, and I'm going to choose this one. It's called Tom Crean's Rabbit, and it says it's a true story from Scott's last voyage. Now, Scott is the name of one of the explorers that we're going to find out about, but we'll be finding out about Scott later, not just now. So, let's find out about this story. Now, if you're Robin, you'll know this story already. Look at this amazing boat. Oh, look at that ship there. Here we go. This story in this book really happened on a voyage to Antarctica in 1910. The ship was called the Terra Nova. Her captain was Robert Scott, and Tom Crean, the sailor, was a member of the crew. Okay, have a little look at that lovely picture there. Tom the sailor picked up Little Rabbit carefully in his big hands. He wrapped her in an old woolly jumper. "You need a rest, Little Rabbit," said Tom. "Somewhere on this ship there is just the right place, warm and quiet and cosy. Let's go find it." Tom the sailor looked at the black cat with one white whisker. The ship's cat was tucked up in a warm, cosy place. He lay on his little hammock, just like the sailors' hammocks, with his little own pillow and his little blanket. "This hammock is full of black cats," said Tom. "There's no room for you here, Little Rabbit." Tom the sailor looked up at the skylight where the ship's parrot was sitting on her perch. "Hello, Polly," said Tom. "Hello, Polly," said the parrot. "You can't live on a perch, Little Rabbit," said Tom, and he gave the parrot a piece of string to unravel. Carefully, Tom the sailor climbed down the ladder into the ship's hold. There were boxes and sacks and barrels and stacks and heaps, and it was very cold. Tom peered around and shivered. "It's much too cold and dark down here for you, Little Rabbit," he said, and he climbed up quickly. Tom the sailor looked into the big cabin. Everyone was busy hanging up paper lanterns, paper chains and flags. "Come and help us put up the decorations," they called. "Come on, Tom." "Not now," said Tom. "I've got to find a nest for my rabbit." All the lovely banners that they're putting in the bunting. We've done that in our school before, haven't we? Put bunting up. Good smells were coming from the galley. Tom looked round the door and the cook was stirring something in a big saucepan. "What's for dinner?" said Tom. "Special surprises for a special dinner," said the cook. "You must wait and see." Tom the sailor put on his big warm jacket. He pulled on his woolly hat and his woolly gloves. "Oh, we're going back up on deck then, Little Rabbit," said Tom. "Mind you keep warm." Snow was falling gently and the sea was covered in big pieces of ice like white meringue. Icebergs floated slowly by like spiky mountains. 2 whales lifted their great backs in a patch of blue-black water, then sank below the surface. Fat silvery seals lay on the ice, yawning and scratching themselves with their flippers, and a little group of penguins stood staring at the ship. More penguins scurried across the ice in a long line. One penguin climbed onto the top of an ice hill, and the others pushed him off. High above the deck, up against the sky, a wooden barrel was lashed to the mast. Pure white birds flew round and round the rigging. "It's no good going up there with you, Little Rabbit. You can't climb and you can't fly." The deck was filled with dogs, brown dogs, hairy dogs, black and yellow dogs with pointy ears and curly tails. Tom tucked Little Rabbit deep inside his jacket. "Hello, dogs," said Tom, and the dogs barked and yelped and howled. I didn't know the ship would have so many animals, did you? Tom the sailor went forward to the place where the ponies were kept in strong wooden stalls. The ponies were munching oats. They banged at the sides of their stalls with their sharp hooves. "This ship is full up," said Tom. "It's crammed and crowded. Where can I find you a warm, quiet, cosy place for your nest, Little Rabbit?" And Little Rabbit's long, silky ears drooped. I've got it, said Tom. He ran down 8 steps and poked his head into a gap under the deck where the hay for the ponies was stored. The air smelt sweet. "Just a place for a nest," said Tom, and carefully he unwrapped Little Rabbit from his old woolly jumper and he put her down on the hay. Little Rabbit hopped around, sniffed the hay and lay down. "And now," Tom said happily, "it's time for my Christmas dinner." Everyone sat down around a long table in the big cabin and they ate tomato soup, roast mutton, plum pudding and mince pies. And then they opened little parcels from their families. They pulled crackers, they played games and they sang songs. They were a very long way from home, but it was a good Christmas party. You see them having fun. When it was nearly bedtime, Tom went to see if Little Rabbit was all right. He poked his head into the gap under the deck where the hay was stored, and Little Rabbit lay in her warm, cosy nest in the hay, and lying next to her was 17 baby rabbits. "That's the best Christmas present ever," said Tom happily. 17 babies, now I can give a rabbit to each of my friends. Well, nearly. And he stroked Little Rabbit's long, silky ears. I don't know if you can see them there. Ah. Tom looked round the night. The deck was covered in glittering snow. The world was utterly quiet and still. The sun was a soft golden ball and the ice glowed white with purple shadows. "Happy Christmas," said Tom to the world. That's a true story. Wow, 17 little rabbits. I didn't realise there were, like I said, so many animals on the ship when they went to Antarctica. I wonder what jobs they all had to do. I bet there was lots of them, wasn't there? I bet those ponies weren't there just for a ride. I bet they had to do some hard work, and those dogs too. Gosh. Now, if you want to look at this book a little bit more, it is here on the display, and like I said, there's lots and lots more books that you can come and look at. Remember, this is school property, so let's think about the rule, looking after property. Yes, think about the golden rule. It's this one here, number 5, we look after property. So if you do come into the research centre and you would like to look at the books, then you must first of all, that's right, wash your hands. All this on here belongs to school, so none of it can go home. Even if you really, really like our little animals, must stay here on display. Have a little look at them, find out more about Antarctica. Come and find me on the playground and tell me. Okay, we're going to finish there. We'll finish with our school prayer. Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen.